One of the, I was talking about the pernicious influence of billionaires on our society. I started this website long ago, nobillionaires.com. And, the other one, of course, is the big banks. And I find it bizarre that state after state after state is running literally billions of dollars in tax money and, other functions through their state every year. And that money is ending up in banks in New York who are declaring massive profits and sharing huge dividends and multi-million-dollar salaries to their senior executives, when instead they could be doing like North Dakota did and have a state bank so that the profit from banking stays with the state. One of the advocates for this is Phoenix Goodman, who is the co-founder of Public Bank LA, the website publicbankla.com. You can tweet Phoenix Goodman at Phoenix_Goodman, just like Thom _Hartmann. Phoenix, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Tell us about Public Bank LA and what's going on with Measure B on the ballot in California.
Yeah, we're as you mentioned, looking to create a municipal public bank. And it's a little bit different than the state bank because it's at the local level, and that is unprecedented in the history of the United States. So we're going to take the benefits of recapturing the interest and fees that's currently extracted by Wall Street of our public funds, and then bringing that down to the local level. Now that's on the ballot on November 6th. It's Measure B. And if that passes, that's going to amend the city charter to allow the first step in this process to continue. What we ultimately hope to do is take this a lot farther than Los Angeles. We want to spark a revolution across the entire United States where cities everywhere start declaring independence from Wall Street.
Wow. This would be an extraordinary thing. Are there any other public banks outside of North Dakota so far?
There was one that was recently chartered in American Samoa, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
It just happened very recently. One of the most notable examples is in Germany, where 40% of their banks are actually public. And they did have a disproportionate effect on their green energy boom because they were able to provide financing for their solar infrastructure. And
right.
That's the type of example that we like to see with public banking here, to identify these important policy needs. Because everything requires money, you not only want to feed what we need with appropriate financing, you want to starve what we don't want, like oil pipelines, weapons manufacturers, private prisons, by moving that money away from Wall Street.
When I lived in Germany back in the 80s, I used the post office for my banking initially, the first month or three until I opened a regular bank account. And I don't know if Germany still has postal banking, but I know it's popular around the world. Bernie Sanders has been talking about it here in the United States. That would be, sort of public banking at the federal level. I'm assuming that post offices are purely federal institutions. A, do I have that all right? And B, why do you even need a Measure B on the ballot in Los Angeles to allow a public bank to be set up by the city of Los Angeles?
Okay, good question. So to answer your first question, postal banking is retail banking. So you as an individual would be able to deposit your money into a checking account, which is the public sector bank. But what we're actually looking to do is create a bank whose sole customer is the city of Los Angeles. When we pay our tax dollars, when we pay parking fines, et cetera, that money gets housed in a financial institution. And in addition to that, when the city takes out infrastructure loans, it can get very expensive because over a 30-year term, you're looking at spending our tax dollars 50% above the initial cost. Right. And all that's extracted by Wall Street. So this is a public sector bank for the public sector. That's the difference between what we're doing in postal banking, but we're certainly very for postal banking as well. There's many pillars to public banking. Now, why do we need it on the ballot? Well, there's in the charter currently in Los Angeles, there's a specific language that states that the city cannot engage in commercial enterprises. In order to amend the charter, you do need to make a referendum out of that to make that happen. But it's been great that is the case because, frankly, one of the biggest issues of how do we get this to happen is we had to create the consciousness in the public mind, right, of what this is and what the benefits are. After 2008, there were no really revolutionary ideas lying around, so we basically resuscitated the zombie that failed, right? In 2011, when Occupy came to the fore, they were viscerally against the system, the banking system. But one of the biggest critiques about Occupy is, well, what is your specific policy agenda? What exactly?
What's your solution?
Yep, and we believe full-heartedly this is literally what Occupy craved. What they needed is public banking, very specifically.
Yeah.
And this is the resuscitation of that Occupy 2.0. This time with an extremely focused policy agenda.
I know that there's been some talk about statewide public banking in California. That California is literally providing something on the order of $6 to $15 billion a year in profits for the banks in New York, or at least that's a number I've heard. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know the actual number. Where's that at?
So that has not gone as far as the municipal public banking movement, although we are very for California State Bank as well. From a political perspective, it's a lot bigger of a bite to chew for obvious reasons. It's a lot bigger of an entity, and we have to coordinate across the entire state to make that happen. We're certainly for it. It's already been on the agenda in 2011. It was vetoed by Jerry Brown. This time, we do believe that will end up succeeding as well. But what we're focusing on specifically is bringing that to the municipal level. To us, that's the most important unit, because you're going to have something that's going to reflect the will of a small constituency, so you really have that sensitivity to local needs. Ultimately, the vision is state banks everywhere, city banks everywhere, postal banks everywhere, turning banking from a rapacious system to a public utility.
Like it is in Germany. Sounds like a plan. Phoenix Goodman, publicbankla.com.